Good morning and welcome to the Thursday edition of your Breakfast from Leadership Television inside Nigeria. Today is Thursday, January 30, 2025. My name is Winifred Igbobo, your host on the program. On today's show, we are just going to be looking at what the national newspapers are saying, including Nigeria's most influential leadership. We'll go with leadership first and see what leadership has on its menu this Thursday. The main leading story today on leadership says anti-terrorism. Chad Basin traditional rulers lead fresh front. Anti-terrorism. Chad Basin traditional rulers lead fresh front. Leading story today on leadership, Thursday edition of the paper, production of the paper. Partners regional governments to end insecurity, poverty, inequality, fueling insurgency in the Chad, coming from President Bola Tinubu. Military will do more to restore lasting peace. That is the Chief of Defense Staff. Anti-terrorism. Chad Basin traditional rulers lead fresh front. Partner regional governments to end insecurity, poverty, inequality, fueling insurgency in Lake Chad. Tinubu and CDS says military will do more to restore lasting peace. Leading story today on leadership. EFCC versus Yahaya Bello court adjourns to April 3. Don't destroy PDP, Damagun Wabara tell party leaders. Mass air grounded for 3 months. Of course, this is a developing story going by what happened yesterday. Thankfully, there was no casualty. APC expels Aregbesola for anti-party activities. This story is on page 4 of leadership. Of course, it was noted sometime back, just 3 days ago, that Aregbesola and his supporters were mooting the idea of moving to another party. And today, APC expels Aregbesola for anti-party activities. We move towards the mindset of leadership. Professors fume over ministers' refusal to address Uni Abuja basic crisis. And on the business boss of leadership, injunctive orders against Obagbena, GHL, orders stay court rules. That takes us to the story above the masthead. Not really stories, a countdown to leadership conference awards taking place in this first quarter of the year. Leadership Award has encouraged Nord Automobile to strive for excellence from Ajayi, the CEO. From the first cover, we move to the page 3, where we have our stand. Today's stand is on Nigeria and leprosy eradication. Nigeria and leprosy eradication. Today's editorial on leadership. Nigeria joined the global community to celebrate this year's World Leprosy Day and the importance of early detection and treatment. This year's theme, Unite, Act, Eliminate Leprosy, a global imperative, aims to raise awareness of leprosy, highlight the challenges faced by persons affected by leprosy, and inspire collaborative action to eliminate the debilitating disease. World Leprosy Day is held every year on the last Sunday of January. We recognize that leprosy is at least 4,000 years old, making it one of the oldest diseases known to humanity. French humanitarian Raoul Pouleru chose the date as a tribute to the life of Mahatma Gandhi, who did much work with persons affected by leprosy and died at the end of January 1948. Paragraphs to today's stand on leadership newspaper, Nigeria and leprosy eradication. From that, we move to the back page of leadership. Just before we move to the back page of leadership, there's a story on page 4 of the paper. $360 million Ogoni cleanup. Senate threatens High Prep coordinator with warrant of arrest. $360 million Ogoni cleanup. Senate threatens High Prep coordinator with warrant of arrest. From that story, we move to the back page of leadership, where we have Being Blunt with Moazu Elize. Moazu Elize is the General Managing Director, that is GMD of Leadership Newspaper Group. Today's bluntness is on Tafoki as salute to resilience. This achievement, however, was hard won. Tafoki as salute to resilience. Today's Being Blunt with Moazu Elize. And just before we leave that back page, we just take a snap at Ghana must go. Ghana must go today says PDP is Nigeria's only hope, coming from Damagun, the PDP chair. And of course, Ghana must go reply, are we that hopeless? Wow, very, very funny. For more on this, being blunt, the back page column, the editorial inside stories, and continuation of headline stories on leadership newspaper, don't forget to log into the website www.leadership.ng. From leadership, we move to the Punch. The Punch says PDP governors plan summit as leaders exchange blows at BOT meeting. Leading story on the Punch this Thursday. PDP governors plan summit as leaders exchange blows at BOT meeting. Party restrains warring factional secretaries from performing duties. APC monks opposition party. We have the same story, similar picture with that, like that of leadership on the cover of the Punch this morning. Other stories gracing the cover of the Punch: scores killed as military bombs Boko Haram strongholds in Borno. Government key policeman attack Katsina local government chair. Gani Adams force Sultan's backing for Sharia in Southwest. Gani Adams force Sultan's backing for Sharia in Southwest. JAMB suspends law admission in Kwasu. Redeemers Varsity says orders. Mass Air, federal government suspends airlines plans to audit orders. Beside the masthead of the Punch, tariff hike, Labour plans telecoms boycott, February 4 protest. And just beneath the masthead of the Punch, injunctive orders against Obaegbena, GHL orders stay, First Bank Council. The stories on page 10 of the Punch newspaper. That is also where we conclude review of the front page today on the program Inside Nigeria. For more, log on to the website of the Punch, www.punchng.com. From the Punch newspaper, we move to the paper again with similar headline story with that of the Punch, and that is Daily Sun. Daily Sun says PDP camps fight dirty over secretaryship. Talks invade National Secretariat, disrupt board meeting. I'm disappointed over crisis in NWC, Wagbara. You leaders are complicit, Damagun replies. Leading story today on the Sun, just like the Punch. PDP camps fight dirty over secretaryship. Talks invade National Secretariat, disrupt BOT meeting. Wagbara says, I'm disappointed over crisis in NWC, and Damagun replies, you leaders are complicit. Leading story on Daily Sun newspaper this Thursday. Other stories gracing the cover: six injunctions against hydrocarbon subsist court rules. This is the story that is just beneath the masthead of Daily Sun. The Federal High Court sitting in Lagos has refused to discharge six of the interim injunctions earlier issued against General Hydrocarbons Limited (GHL) in relation to a sour banking relationship with First Bank of Nigeria (PLC). Justice Dikpo Oluje had on December 30 last year issued 8 interim injunctions against DHL, Prince Nduka Obaegbena, and other directors of the company, including orders restraining all commercial banks from dealing with the company's assets up to the claimed debt amount, as well as others or associated parties, among others. According to a counsel to First Bank, the court only lifted two Mareva orders, revealing that orders 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 were not discharged or set aside and remain valid. These are paragraphs from that leading story on the Daily Sun today. Second leading story, actually. Six injunctions against hydrocarbons subsist court rules. Of course, it's a developing story, and it's a story that we have in other papers today, just like we read out in Daily Leadership, The Punch, Daily Sun, and also in the other papers we have on our menu this morning. Court unfreezes on hydrocarbons accounts are set. Also, in response to that, court unfreezes hydrocarbons accounts are set. Of course, the end does not seem to be in sight yet for the battle between First Bank of Nigeria and the General Hydrocarbons Limited, company owned by publisher of THISDAY newspaper, Nduka Obaegbena. Other stories on the cover of Daily Sun today: alleged cybercrime. Sowore dogged no spray today. Four strikes out defamation suit against Barotimi. Mass air grounded over safety concerns. NLC declares nationwide protest over telecom tariff hike. Federal government launches framework to attract direct investment as Mba Elia go investors. These are the leading stories on today's Daily Sun newspaper. For continuation of this Daily Sun's headline stories, inside stories, and of course the editorial, don't forget to log on to the website www.thesun.ng. We move next to the next paper we have on our menu, and that is The Guardian. The Guardian says neglected tropical diseases day spike in ailments pushes Nigerians care funding gap to 8.6 trillion naira. Neglected tropical diseases day spike in ailments pushes Nigerians care funding gap to 8.6 trillion naira. NLC to protest against 50% telecoms hike on Tuesday. Tinubu blurring line between state power, personal ambition, says Atiku. Tinubu blurring line between state power, personal ambition, says Atiku. Sultan backs Sharia law in Oyo Ekiti. Court set aside prison order, GHL claims. 5 kidnappers killed in gun duel with police along Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. NCAA suspends mass air over Kano near crash incident. Security economic concerns as ECOWAS confirms Niger, Burkina Faso, Mali's withdrawal. These are leading stories today on on the Guardian newspaper. And of course, we just move inside the paper to see some stories. And on this page 2 of the paper, we have UN laws HIV treatment exemption from US funding cuts. United States Secretary of State Marco Rubio has approved an emergency humanitarian waiver allowing continued access to US-funded HIV treatment across 55 countries. The Joint United Nations Program on HIV/AIDS has announced. In a statement on Wednesday, UNAIDS noted that over 20 million people living with HIV, 2/3 of all individuals receiving treatment globally, are directly supported by United States President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief (PEPFAR), the world's leading HIV initiative. UNAIDS collaborates with global and national partners to end the AIDS epidemic by 2030 as part of the Sustainable Development Goals. The U.S. Department of State recently announced an executive order implementing an immediate 90-day pause on all foreign assistance, including funding and services supported by PEPFAR. However, UNAIDS stated that the waiver allows for the continuation or resumption of life-saving humanitarian assistance covering essential HIV treatment and medical services, as well as supplies needed to deliver such assistance. That is a good development coming from US, because as the story reports, US is the largest funding partner to HIV/AIDS treatment, especially in 55 countries, including Nigeria. And the story has it that the US has exempted that temporary halt of AIDS to Africa. So with this HIV treatment part of it, that's a good development. It's on that note we conclude review of front headline stories and some stories on the Guardian newspaper this Thursday. For continuation of these headline stories, log on to the website of the Guardian, www.guardian.ng. From the Guardian, we move over to the next paper we have on our menu this Thursday, and of course, let's go to the Nation news. Let's go to Vanguard newspaper. Let's do THISDAY newspaper, because THISDAY has more on its cover, unlike other papers which are the wrap around like yesterday's. This here says GHL, of course, is a paper that the publisher has interest, is a company the paper has investment in. GHL plus First Bank as court vacates Mareva injunction, director seek damages. Justice Dikko Olu, based on all my findings above, I hold that the first defendant/applicant motion on notice, DHL, dated January 13, 2025, succeeds. The Mareva order of 30th December 2024 is hereby set aside. Therefore, the second to fifth defendants' applicants' alternative relief succeeds to the extent that the Marital Order of 30th December 2024 is set aside. Above that, at Lake Chad Governors Forum, Tinubu seeks multifaceted response to security threat. At Lake Chad Governors Forum, Tinubu seeks multifaceted response to security threats. Because Lake Chad is where the Nigerian Governors Forum office is situated. Charges states to improve security by tackling poverty, other root causes of insecurity. Stakeholders express commitment towards tackling challenges. These are kickers to the second leading story today on this day at Lake Chad Governors Forum. Tinubu seeks multifaceted response to security threats. Above the masthead of this day, Obanikoro accuses Access Bank of using his property as collateral for 1 billion naira loan without his consent. New facts have emerged on how Access Bank clandestinely granted 1 billion naira loan to a going concern, DDSS International Company Limited, using a property belonging to another company, MOB Integrated Services, run by Gbolahan Obanikoro, as collateral without the owner's consent or knowledge. Details of the loan provided by insiders reveal that the property owned by MOB Integrated Services was first used to guarantee a loan of 193,139,200 naira to Bamora International Limited on May 21, 2013 from the now acquired Diamond Bank. These are excerpts from that story. Obanikoro accuses Access Bank of using his property as collateral for 1 billion naira loan without his consent. Beneath that, NLC declares mass action to protest 50% telecom tariff hike. The story is on page 6 of this day. And of course, another report has it that the NLC has also called for mass boycott of telecom services. But that is the difficult one, given the fact that phone telephone services make it easier to breach access. Well, it's on that note we conclude today's Inside Nigeria, but on Leadership Television. Don't forget, tomorrow, same time, same station, is another date you can't afford to miss. My name is Winifred Igbo, your host on the program, and thanks for joining us.
Get ready for the Leadership Awards and Conference 2024. Join us as we celebrate excellence across various fields, honoring those who've made remarkable impacts. Award categories include Person of the Year, Quinquennial Award for Governance and Infrastructure, Governors of the Year, Business Person of the Year, and many more. Stay updated by following us on social media and visiting our website, leadership.ng. For sponsorship and inquiries, contact us today. Leadership Award and Conference 2024, celebrating excellence, inspiring the future.
For watching, for sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.